Hello, I'm Vara,
And I'm Roxy.
and you're listening to VCR. Hey, Roxy, how are you?
Hello, Chris. How are you?
I'm doing okay so far. Nothing too terribly exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Work, everything else. Excited about the spooky seasons that are coming up.
Oh, super
But
excited about spooky season.
but before we move on to the spooky seasons on our show, I just wanted to explain this. So I'm wearing a Christmas Star Wars shirt. And this isn't because it's Christmas or because of Star Wars. It's because James Earl Jones just passed away. And just what a hero that man was for me
Hmm.
growing up. So this is the
Yeah.
closest to a James Earl Jones thing that I have. But
I didn't realize how much of my life, like he's my whole life.
that
He's
man
been
is
the main
the
character in my
yeah,
whole life.
he is the narrator for basically our lives.
Yes.
Mufasa, Darth Vader, Field of Dreams.
Hmm.
Growing up, I even remember
Coming to
it
America,
was
don't forget that one.
Coming to America. He was just the narrator to everything.
His
So,
voice, I could listen to him talk about anything.
oh yeah. And then, like, if you think about it, he was a narrator too, like literally almost everything, because he was the voice of CNN.
Oh
Like
yeah.
in the beginning, before they changed out voices, the original voice was James Earl Jones going, "This is CNN." That was him. You know, so that was all James Earl Jones. So shout out to the man. He'll be forever missed.
Yes, he will.
Much love to James Earl Jones
Hmm.
and his family. So, but getting into it, spooky seasons are upon us. We're getting there. I know me and
Woo!
Roxy have been messaging each other with all kinds of weird, spooky decoration crap that we can't
DIY
probably
crafts and stuff.
just everything because shit that we can't afford. But
Right. Just go make it right quick at the dollar store.
like let me go to the dollar store and make this life size cousin it or something like
Oh
that.
my gosh, I saw this like arch thing that I want to make from the dollar store
Yeah,
to
and
put on
I
my.
saw inflatables, like 25-foot inflatables. I'm like, I need that in my yard type of thing
Hmm.
that I should not. I shouldn't, but I want it.
I saw one on Facebook Market. It was one of those inflatable arches, and I was like,
Mm.
how cute would that be on my? But then not with these people and all their kids running up and down the stairs. Like, I need to not have anything inflatable.
Exactly. Exactly.
It needs to
So
be flush. Like, it needs to just lean against my gate and stuff.
just be decorative.
Yeah.
Understood. So with that upon us, we asked the question. Because like when you think of spooky monsters, who do you okay, spooky season, what monster first comes to your mind, Roxy?
When I think spooky season,
Yes.
ooh, well, ghosts.
Ghost. Okay. See,
Ghosts.
for me, it's always of Dracula. Like I just, I relate spooky season with
Werewolves.
Dracula, werewolves, Frankenstein.
Oh yeah,
But
Frankenstein.
the to me, the king is always going to be Dracula. So it kind of
Mhm.
led me to start thinking, all right, how many Dracula movies are out there? Who was
So
the
many.
best Dracula, or who do I think the best Dracula was? And so today's show is Dracula. We're gonna not so much his history or stuff like that, but definitely we're gonna look at the movies and kind of like these Dracula lists and like some movies that were really great and others that were like, what the hell were you thinking? Why would you make that?
Mm. What was that?
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna need you to stop type of situation. Um But let's go back to one of the first people to ever play Dracula. And back then they called it Nosferatu. But the guy, Max, not even going to begin to try to pronounce that man's name, but
Was that the one I was messing with earlier? Shrek,
yeah,
Sharik, or something?
Shirikle,
Shrek, Sharik.
Shiraki,
It's SCHRE. No, wait. What is it?
uh,
SCHRECK.
yeah, so that guy, so Max, he is just, his portrayal of Dracula. is iconic. And it's iconic because it's a silent film and because he just looks so creepy in that film
Yes.
for a silent movie.
How did they make his fingers so long?
It's all this paper mache type stuff back then, and the same thing with
Hmm.
his head and mask and all that. So, but it was just super creepy. The cinematography for that time was just, I mean, it was just great because they really, really kind of conveyed the super creepy Dracula without words. And it's just amazing how you can do that. So, but Max is definitely one of the original and first Draculas to come out on screen in film. So absolutely iconic. And then after that, you got a lot of people jumping on the scene to play either vampires or Dracula in general. And you have some who are really good and some who are like, please don't ever do that again, you know?
Never do that.
Never, ever, 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 ever think you can play Dracula again. I know one of the worst versions of Dracula I had ever seen. Netflix did a Dracula series, I want to say in 2020, and it was absolutely stupid. It was the dumbest.
I'm like, did I watch that one?
I, it was so stupid because the concept is I hate it when people fuck with the storylines. I really do.
Hmm.
But this one was like, um, of course, Jonathan Harker goes Dracula. You have that typical entrapment thing. But the way Jonathan is being turned into a vampire isn't so much through biting, but it's because the vampire disease is sexually transmitted. It's an STD. So Dracula
Oh my
apparently is like pumping him at night when he's asleep. I'm like, oh my God.
God.
Quit your shit. Quit your shit. And
That is funny.
and instead of like Von Helsing kind of hunting him down, it's this nun hunting him down who's basically like an atheist. And I'm like, this is just trash. The writing is trash, the concept is trash. I'm gonna need you to stop.
Oh
So
my
yeah,
gosh.
that kind of
Oh, what
situation.
was that one called?
That was just called, it was just called Dracula, and it was on Netflix,
I
and it
don't recall
was,
ever seeing that.
yeah, it was stupid. It came out in 2020. Right when the plague's coming out, it was just ridiculously
Hmm.
dumb. And thank God that did not go anywhere because it was just beyond stupid. Uh, so that was one of the more dumber ones. But then you get some that are dumb, but they're just so bad you can't stop watching.
Yes.
So example, like if I don't know, Roxy, are you familiar with the Hammer films?
No.
Okay, so Hammer was a production company back in the day, I want to say the 60s and 70s, and they produced low budget horror movies. I mean, just god awful, terrible horror movies. Like, when the monster comes out, it's clearly a paper mache head and it's overdone. But the thing is, it made money because it was a horror movie. It didn't matter how stupid or how bad the acting was, it produced. However, Hammer Films just had one of the most iconic Draculas ever. And this was back in the day when they're like, you would swear that the movie that they're making may have been also a soft porn at some point. But like Christopher Lee was their Dracula most of the time. And for those of you who do not know who Christopher Lee is, shame on you. Christopher Lee is a great British actor. Famous for Dracula, of course, but in more modern times, if you are familiar with the whole Lord of the Rings,
Mm.
he's the White Wizard. And also in Star Wars, he was Count Dooku, and he's just done a lot of iconic roles. He is the best. Now, here's a little fun thing on Christopher Lee. Christopher Lee's cousin is I am Fleming. So the guy who wrote the James Bond series. And it was said that some of the James Bond adventures and bad guys were based on Christopher Lee's real life, because during World War II, he was a secret agent
Mm.
come actor. So Christopher Lee was just this really great Dracula, this iconic Dracula, and he was just really awesome. So enough gushing over that.
Uh-huh.
And but again, lame Dracula, lame plots. You swear it was mixed with soft porn. And but like it was just something that was just popular because they made all kinds of Dracula movies with him.
Hmm.
Satanic Rite of Dracula, The Brides of Dracula, Dracula Returns, Dracula's Revenge, Dracula, they just had all these Dracula things going on that starred Christopher Lee, and he was Dracula for like a good part of my life too. But Roxy, do you have like a particular Dracula movie or a favorite Dracula kind of actor? Or have you ever seen a Dracula movie that was just like, this is my favorite version of the 10,000 Draculas that are out there?
Right. No. What's his name? The old guy from the Munsters.
Oh, Grandpa. There you go.
No, I think I was telling you about that one Dracula movie that I saw recently with Nicolas Cage, Renfield.
Yes. Okay.
I thought it was quite entertaining. I was not going to say it was the best movie ever. It was quite entertaining. I laughed a lot. I enjoyed it.
Now, so did you like Nicolas Cage as Dracula? Was he a good Dracula? I haven't seen it, so I couldn't tell you.
He kind of plays like this goofy kind of Dracula. So
Okay.
in that aspect, yes, because he
Mhm.
is a bit of a goof.
All right.
But
One of the worst Draculas I had ever seen, and some people may argue with me, and this is a classic actor, okay? Jack Palance. So Jack Palance is a very old school actor. He did a lot of westerns and stuff, and just a lot of noir movies back in the day. But later on, he does Dracula, right? It was the most stiff, boring Dracula I had ever seen.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
It was not, he was not a very good Dracula. He was not a very good Dracula, but he was Dracula nonetheless, for a few movies, but he was not my favorite Dracula.
Who's yours?
Oh
I
God,
know.
who?
Bela Lugosi.
It is true. Bela Lugosi is my favorite Dracula because he was when I grew up, he was the Universal Studios Dracula. So his iconic blah, blah, I want to drink your blood has always been that Dracula for me. And his Hungarian accent, because he was Hungarian, just really played into the Dracula role. And he had the classic black tux with a cape. And there was just something about that was just like, that
Yeah.
is the iconic Dracula for me.
I changed
Um,
my mind. I know
who,
who mine is.
whose is it?
The Count from Sesame Street.
One, one drink, two drinks. Ah, 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 ah. Yes, he
My
was.
favorite.
Yeah, he is one of the best counts out there. I will say that. He is definitely one of the more friendlier, interesting counts out there.
Yes.
Um, so I'm gonna have to go with Bela Lugosi is one of my all-time favorites. But I'm gonna say this, and this is hard for me. Like if I had to put a second in there, um, it's a hard tie for second, but I may have to do Gary Oldman's Dracula.
Mm.
Dracula, Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula, when that one came out, with Gary Oldman, Winona Ryder, Keanu Reeves, Anthony Hopkins. Oh, that was so good. And of course, Monica Bellucci in there just sent everyone in a tizzy as the naked vampire coming out the bed. Uh,
Oh.
yeah, God, and she's still gorgeous to this day. She is still the most gorgeous thing ever. But yes, that Dracula is probably a hard second for me. you know,
Hmm.
and I would even put the Nosferatu guy maybe right under that because that
What about
was
Lon Chaney?
Lon Chaney was not my favorite as Dracula. I liked Lon Chaney better as the Wolfman. You know, Lon Chaney is a good actor, great actor. He was Phantom of the Opera, but he's more iconic for the Wolfman, so I'm gonna have to go with him as my favorite for Wolfman, but not so much Dracula. He wasn't he didn't send me as much. But then you
Hmm.
get into goofier Draculas, like for example, Leslie Nielsen, Dracula Dead and Loving It. And I'm not going to talk shit about that because it was just a movie that made fun of all the different versions of Dracula and how
Hmm.
ridiculous the story was. And it's a Mel Brooks movie, so you got to love it for that. But
What about a vampire in Brooklyn? Would that be considered Dracula, or would he just be a vampire?
no, he would be a vampire. He is not Dracula specifically. He
Okay.
he said what the name of his character was, Prince something, but it wasn't Dracula. But that was a really good vampire. It was a funny vampire movie. I'll say that because Eddie Murphy as a
Yeah.
vampire was just really good. Uh, Leslie Nielsen as playing a goofy Dracula was really great
I am
too.
still shocked to hear that about the Adam Sandler thing because I totally forgot about Hotel Transylvania.
Yeah, like Hotel Transylvania, Adam Sandler is the voice of the Count. And I've never associated it. And it was just he was I will voice wise really great. I'm not
Hmm.
big into the whole Hotel Transylvania thing because it's a kid's thing, but it's he does a good job.
I'm probably
Uh
gonna watch it tonight
it might be worth
because I haven't seen it, so
it
I'm gonna
might
watch it.
be it might be worth a good one as a kid type of thing. Now I
Hmm.
will say this: the what I call the bastardized versions of Dracula, the ones that just should not have been made. you know, like so I'm gonna the this one I want to say came out last year and I saw it, The Last Voyage of the Demeter. And for those
Hmm.
of you who don't know it, the Demeter is the name of the ship in the movie.
Oh, I do remember
Yeah.
that.
In the novel Dracula, the Demeter is the name of the ship that brings Dracula from Transylvania to England. And the thing is, all you hear about this ship is that, it floated into bay, they unloaded the cargo, but none of the crew was found. It was just because,
That's
of course, Dracula
crazy.
killed them all. But that's all you know about the Demeter. But the movie, The Last Voyage of the Demeter, was trash. Their version of Dracula was just disappointing. It was not a very good movie. I was very disappointed in it. Not my favorite Dracula movie at all. Matter of fact, Albert and Costello meet Dracula and Frankenstein was probably better than that.
Gosh.
And I had to go
Wow.
way fucking bad for that, back for that. Uh, but just vampire movies in general. Now, if we want to branch out like non-Dracula type of things, like Vampire in Brooklyn, I have to say one of my favorite non-Draculas, and tell me if you remember this, the original Fright Night.
Oh, yes.
Right. No, the original. The remake was horrible that they did in the 2000s. That was just so bad. I want to say that came out in like 2016 or something. They did a remake and it was just terrible. But the original one was really good. And by the way, just a little trivia because I know you're gonna love it, Roxy. The
Hmm.
guy who played the vampire in the original Fright Night is also Prince Humperdinck in Princess Bride.
Mm.
But you know what else he's done that you really love? You want to take a stab? Or do you want me just to shoot it? I'll tell you. Okay,
You have to tell
so
me. I'm like, I was trying to think. I was like, no, what?
he is the voice of Jack Skeleton in Nightmare Before
Oh,
Christmas. So he's
right.
also, I mean, he just hit after hit after hit with that man. So, but yes, one of the like non-Dracula vampire movies, Fright Night's one of my favorites. And I will watch that every around Halloween. That's one of my spooky list favorites, is the original. Um, Roxy, I'm
Hmm.
going to ask you this. Who do you think is the best looking Dracula you've ever seen? Like out of all the guys who play Dracula, who's the best looking?
Oh, jeez, I don't know.
I know you want to say me, but
Sir, no. No.
so so who's the best looking Dracula for you? From
Um,
a woman's perspective, who's the best looking?
Probably your guy.
Bela Lugosi?
Yeah.
Really? Old school?
Yeah.
You're gonna go
Because
way?
I like the full, like the suit, like the
Mhm.
whole, and he's very dapper.
Yes, he's very charismatic as that Dracula.
Yes.
He really is. He really is, and he's very charming for
Yeah.
for the way he
And that was
really
the
fit
thing
it.
with Dracula is that he was supposed to have that charm that was supposed to just draw you in.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's one of the compelling things about the Francis Ford Coppola one and having Gary Oldman play that Dracula
Hmm.
is that in his human form, when he's not in the vampire form, Gary Oldman is very charming with Winona Ryder in that. And
Hmm.
so I think that's one of the things that kind of make him so compelling as a good Dracula is the charm and charisma because you don't see them do that a whole lot. I mean, it's Bela Lugosi, him, and maybe I can't even think of someone else who kind of had that charm and charisma that Dracula was supposed to have. Because the rest of them just play it like, I'm Dracula.
Yeah.
You know? Look at me in my cape. But I do know like they've done other movies like the Dracula 2000 and Dracula Untold, that series. I myself have never seen it. I don't know. Have you seen those? The Dracula like Untold or Dracula 2000?
No, I don't think I have seen
Okay.
those.
I haven't seen it. I've heard they're good, but I have not seen it because it's
Mm-mm.
just like,
Put that on the list for spooky season.
yes, yes, probably will. But see, again, once you start fucking with the storyline of Dracula, I'm just a hard no.
Nope.
You're either going to adhere to the storyline or you're going to create some other stupid side story, kind of like the Satanic Rite of Dracula, the Hammer film.
Hmm.
It's Dracula. You know how Dracula got there, but it's Dracula in modern day London, harvesting and growing his army of female porn star vampires in the basement.
Oh
That's
my
literally,
God.
oh, I'll never forget that. It's like these two police officers go down into the basement and they get locked in there, and then all these beautiful, clearly, like low rate porn star vampires start coming out the coffin trying to kill them, and they're like trying to run away, and I was like, I don't think I would be running away.
I'd be
I
running
just
towards the danger.
like, oh, like my dyslexia kicked in. I'm running too to
Right?
the danger, not away from the danger. And
Danger dyslexia.
well, damn my dyslexia. And then what was even funnier is like they run to Van Helsing's house after they escape, and Van Helsing is just like serving them like broth in these broth bowls with handles on it. And it's kind of like, oh, you poor thing. Trying to escape vampire rape with these beautiful women, just like
Oh goodness.
God, how traumatizing. I'm like, yeah, no.
And then
I feel this movie's gone in a wrong direction.
you're like, well, I don't think that's not very accurate.
I was
No.
like, no, no, I'm gonna direct that one day. But like you understand, it's just a continuation and a modern version of Dracula now creating this virus that's also going to destroy the world and turn everyone into what he is because he wants to die type of thing. So it's that kind of stuff. I can get into that. But like when you're mixing the old story with something new, just please don't.
Yeah,
Just don't even bother. Like vampire AIDS. That's stupid. That is stupid.
that is stupid.
You have vampire AIDS.
Ah!
Like, oh no.
What the hell even is
What
that?
is that? Here's a pamphlet.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my God. So just really quick before we end up running out of time here, I'm just gonna kind of go through this list of people who have played Dracula because I feel that's kind of important, like to kind of give tribute to the people who have played Dracula. List of Dracula actors. Let's see what we got. And it's right there too. So of course you have Adam Sandler as Hotel Transylvania, Nicolas Cage through Renfield, Bela Lugosi, one of the first for me, Luke Evans in Dracula Untold, Christopher Lee Dracula, Clancy Bang is the Dracula from that Netflix series.
Hmm.
Do not entertain
Don't
it.
watch it?
Do not
Are you
enter.
sure?
Um, unless you want vampire AIDS. Leslie Nielsen, of course, as Dracula. Uh, Dead and Loving It. Gerard Butler, Dracula 2000. I forgot he was Dracula in that. Um, Good for him. Uh, Now on here, how can I forget this guy? Frank Lagala Dracula. He was one of the originals too. He's done quite George Hamilton. Oh my God, love that first bite. That was that comedy, 70s comedy,
Mm,
about like this George Hamilton plays Dracula in New York and he falls in love with this model. And I remember the thing I remember the most about it, even though it was stupid and funny, was this dance scene in the song I Love the Nightlife. And it was this
hmm.
Dracula dancing with his disco dancing with this woman. It was so good. It was just funny and good. But you have that kind of thing. And let's see, you just got so many great iconic Draculas out there, but those are some of my favorite. Of course, Gary Oldman as Dracula. Do you have anyone that who kind of you like, Roxy?
No,
No?
no, I can't think of anyone right now.
Can't really think of one. Oh,
Mm-mm.
boo. But those are kind of my picks. I mean, there's a whole bunch of them out there who have played Dracula. I think even Judd Hirsch, for those of you who don't remember Judd Hirsch, he was in the TV show Taxi. He even did a version of Dracula. I want to say it was a cartoon version,
Hmm.
but he did a version of Dracula where he was fun. I think he's also done some comedic versions of Dracula too, which were not bad. But it's just, Judd Hirsch type of situation. But, you win some, you lose some. But if you out there have
Hmm.
a favorite Dracula movie or maybe a favorite Dracula character, definitely share it with us. I mean, I would love to know who's your favorite Dracula because it's hard for me to say, hey, this guy's the best Dracula out of all times.
Right.
I can definitely say the Nosferatu Max is one of the best because that movie is over 100 years old and it's still
Hmm.
iconic, and you still get creeped out seeing his shadow on the
Yeah.
wall and his little
Mm.
fingers, and he's just creepy. So I have to say he's probably the ultimate, for standing the test of time. But Bela Lugosi, Gary Oldman, I mean, they're also amazing. I couldn't really figure out like who's the absolute best.
Right.
I don't know, Roxy, do you think you have an absolute best? No?
No,
Hmm.
Nicolas Cage. I'm kidding.
No, I was gonna say please don't.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
But getting back to it, if you have a favorite Dracula, or maybe there's Dracula we did not list that you are upset about and you want to,
Yeah.
tell us. Boo. Let us know. You can email us to the VCR at gmail.com. Check us out on our Insta and X at the VCR Show. Check out our unupdated website, thevcrshow.com, and on YouTube at thevcrshow.com. And then if you want to serve Roxy as the Dark Mistress of the Night, you may do so at her social medias, which are
On
uh,
Facebook, Roxy Perez Curvy Model. On
one social
Instagram,
media.
On Instagram at poprox428 and on TikTok at thepoproxx. And poprox is spelled Poproxx.
Three social medias. Ah, ah.
Oh my
Uh,
goodness.
as always, I'm Vara,
And I'm Roxy.
and you've been listening to VCR.
Bye.
Bye bye. You have been listening to VCR, creative content by Richard Christopher Vara and Roxy Perez. Logo by Richard Christopher Vara with assistance from Annie Ramirez. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can reach us at thevcrshow@gmail.com or our social medias at Instagram and Twitter at the VCR Show. And you can also check out our content at thevcrshow.com. The show's song is Addict by Nefex, instrumental, and you can find them on YouTube Music Library.